Here's a story I bet you've heard before. And this comes from the second chapter of Luke's Gospel. And it goes like this. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration that was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then the angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. For see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born in the city of David this day a Savior who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace among those whom he favors." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told to them about the child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, as it had been told to them. I've heard this story easily every year of my life. My guess is you may have heard this more than a few times too. We've heard it read, we've heard it turned into song or story form. You've heard Linus and Charlie Brown Christmas read it while other people and talking dogs are waiting in the wings. You know the story. But you know what I don't know that I have ever really paid attention to until this year is just how weary everybody must have been in that scene. There's no one who converges on the manger who hasn't been deprived of rest at some point. We use the word restless sometimes to mean like fidgety and antsy moving around, but I mean like everybody in this story is restless, has been denied the chance to rest. I mean, you think about every character in this story, every figure who by the end of the story has come and seen the infant Jesus there laid in a borrowed food trough. Mary and Joseph have had quite a trek from Nazareth down to Bethlehem in the south, a journey of 95, 100 miles, something like that. And even if they've got an animal to ride, which is a guess, that's still rough going on pretty rough terrain. Mary's been pregnant for the last 9 months. That's wearying to her body. It's every morning. It's will she be able to sleep through the night? Will she be sick in the morning? Just the ache of her muscles. Her body is worn and weary. And Joseph, if he has been a half-decent partner at all, has been there throughout that journey, helping when she's been sick or when she's not been feeling well or when she's been weary and tired. The shepherds who get there by the end of the story, they're the ones who've been working the night shift. They're awake all through the night, keeping watch. And even if you are used to working night shift, man, that's hard to stay awake. And if your job is just keep an eye on the sheep, that's one level of activity. But then if somebody said, "Now go into town," these guys are tired. Even the angels themselves seem like they've been doing overtime shifts in this story. To hear Luke tell it, angels seem to be around every corner, appearing to Mary, appearing to Zechariah and Elizabeth. And when Matthew tells the story, angels show up to tell Joseph that it's okay to get married to his fiancée. The angels seem to be getting an extra workout in this story. Everybody's tired. And what seems so beautiful to me about this story is that they are all invited to this place and to bring their weariness. And that somehow there's a moment of peace, of rightness, of things falling into place of, this is what finally lets me exhale. There at the manger, there's a sense of, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I've been urgently moving around and rushing about for. This is what makes it all worth it. That the manger is this place for people who are weary to come. And to be sure, before long, each person who gets gathered around the manger on that first Christmas will be sent out eventually to do other things. The shepherds go back to their lives and tell everybody they've met about the baby they found laying in a food trough. Mary and Joseph will pretty soon have to get on the run when Herod finds out about the baby, and they have to become refugees fleeing to Egypt to keep their child's life safe when the king wants to kill him. Even the angels will have more work to be done. But for right now, for this moment, there's a place for the weary. And maybe in finding that moment of peace, of being okay, just to rest where you are for a spell, maybe then it makes it possible when it's time to get up and move again, to get up and do the next thing. Take the next step, do the next right thing, serve and love on the next day, work the next shift. I've been thinking about how everybody is exhausted in the story of Jesus' birth, because how many people these days I hear saying how just bone weary they are. It's not that we're not getting enough sleep, although I don't know many people at all these days who are getting enough sleep. It's that sense of just being weary, of being tired of things. We're tired of the last almost 2 years now of pandemic and the ups and the downs, and just wanting it to be over. We knew it was going to take longer than just 2 weeks at the beginning in March 2020, but oh my goodness, it just feels like this unending, unrelenting weariness for us. People who I hear whose job is to care for other people, people who work in hospitals or doctors' offices, first responders, teachers, educators, people in service work, people who are working at stores everywhere. People are just weary. We're short-staffed, and people are on edge. People are rude instead of being considerate. People are selfish instead of being compassionate toward others, and it wears on us, and it feels like we're all getting kind of threadbare. It feels in these days like maybe all of us are weary and looking for some place, some moment just to breathe out and to know that somebody else is keeping watch for a while. I can remember at a few points in my life I have had I'll call it privilege rather than burden of night shift working. A couple of times when I was in college and even when I was in seminary for a brief spell, had work that made me stay up through the night. And as tired as you could be at the end of a shift like that, especially if your work shift was ending just as the sun was coming up and some part of your body said, it's time to wake up, but some other part of your body said, no, we are very tired. To see the next shift come in and say, oh, we've got it. You can go now. You can rest. You can close your eyes. You can breathe out. You don't have to be on call at this moment permanently. There's something relieving about that. There's something of genuine peace in a place like that. And it doesn't mean your work is done forever. It doesn't mean there's nothing left to be done, but it means for this moment, there can be genuine peace. You can hand off the worry, hand off the burden. Someone else is going to take the watch for a spell. And then, when you're strengthened again, then, when you are renewed, then we'll join back into the fray. I think the moment of Jesus' birth, the way Luke tells it, has that kind of feel to it. That by the end, all the other human characters, Mary and Joseph, shepherds, and even the angels too, have the sense of their role has come to a pause. Their shift is over. Their watch has ended. The baby has come. And now God will be the one who keeps watch right now. And in that moment of there's peace here in this place, now we find the strength. Now we find enough rest to be renewed, that then we can go back out, and when the time comes again for us to serve and love and reach out and act and give our energy and strength, we'll be able to when that time comes. But for now, it's okay to rest. For now, it's okay to be honest about the weariness that we bring. That's the other thing I love about how the story plays out. When the angels show up to the shepherds, who are already certainly tired and smelly on top of that, and carrying their animals, have no other arrangements, when they decide, let's go and see this child, the angels don't say, whoa, 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 don't you need to get rested up? Wait until you're higher functioning. Wait until your energy levels are back up. Wait until you're presentable and then show yourself to the Messiah. They say now, this is the time. Go see it now. Even if you're tired, even if you're in fact, because you are weary, come. Because you are exhausted, because you are tired of striving and giving and spending yourself, come. And here in this place, around the manger, with the child who is there, know that God is keeping this next watch. That's just it. The word to hear at Christmas is that God is now among us, and it's God's watch right now. There will come points, again, where we're called upon to step back up and bring the news to the wider world, but God's on the watch right now. And if you are weary right now, good news on this night is the word from the angels isn't peace after you've taken a nap, or peace for you when you're presentable right now, even in your weariness. Peace rests on you. It's time for God to take the watch right now. In whatever other ways your Christmas celebrations happen, with whatever people you gather with, in whatever places you may have to work along the way, in whatever places you'll be traveling, all those things that make us weary. Here on this day, the word from the angels for the shepherds is a word for you and for me as well. Here's a moment to rest. Peace right now. God is on the watch right now. A merry and a blessed Christmas to you and to yours. Blessings to you.